I can. But they
The reason you seen him do the hour and half hour is because you never turn your hands backward. The reason being
is that the workings of the clock are just set up that way that if you turn them backwards, they bind. They go into a bind, and then it bends the wires, and they won't. Once they're bent, then they have to be straightened back out. It's not that they can't be fixed, it's that it makes it much more complicated. So if the clock is fast, you just stop it, or during a time change, you just stop the clock and let it catch up for an hour.
Okay, and then how do you stop the cuckoo clocks here? Is just by the pendulum.
Yep.
Pendulum.
You just stop the pendulum and wait for it to catch up for an hour, and then if the clock is running fast, you lower the little leaf down on the pendulum, and if it's running slow, you raise it up on the pendulum. It's just a stick, and it just moves up and down with friction on the pendulum, and it just attaches on a little hook on the back. And that's all there is to it. And it starts just by giving it a little push.
And this is my clock, by the way. It's a dark forest pine clock from the 40s, 8-day clock.
Late 40s.
But the movement and everything you said was awesome, right?
Yes, it was. Somebody had bought the clock, as near as we can tell, and had either used it very little or had never taken it out of the box. It was in the original box and had been put away, and so the clock had almost no use in it whatsoever.
And then the weights here for the 8-day clock, you have to help the weights up.
Yes.
You just don't want to pull the string or the chain and pull them up. You want to help them up a little bit.
Because they're heavier, and you don't want to put undue stress inside the mechanical workings of the clock, so you help them up a little bit when you wind it. And an 8-day clock, the difference is you wind it once a week, and so it runs weekly, and of course you have to hang it up high enough on the wall so as the weights come down, they've got room to fall down.
And the reason I'm making this video is he's a clockmaker, and he's got a shop. He's got tons of cuckoo clocks and old other clocks.
We don't wind them all the time, and we don't keep them on the same time because folks want to hear them go off when they look at them for purchase and during the repair process.
And this is not all, this is just one section. But if you want an excellent movement clock or whatever, you can get a hold of me, then I can relay your message on over to Mr. Jeff here. He said he's got them everywhere.
And we go through each one of them, we take them apart, we've got a little workshop, we buff them down, clean them up, try to make them as good as we can to do. And try to get them to keep the right time as close as we can. Of course, they're anywhere from new clocks to 120, 130 years old, and they didn't keep perfect time when they were new. But we've got a lot of parts, and we fix them, and we enjoy it, and we're just trying to get them ready to pass on to the next generation.
And you said you've done this ever since you was a child, right?
Yeah, my dad started, I guess probably back in the 60s, and I started helping him back then. So, have a good time doing it.
Yeah. And then right here is for the big grandfather clocks, he'll take the movement out and very carefully and place them on these two boards.
Yeah, we set the movement on there, and the movement straddles that. The chains and the weights go on, and then once it's on, it's really stable. And then we're able to work on the clock and be able to see it and have a movement exposed. And the cuckoo clocks, once we work on those, we get them out. And this is the cuckoo clock stand, and this is a cuckoo clock that's just came in, and that kind of gives you an idea of how a cuckoo clock is. This one here has not been taken apart yet. It's just come in.
And this is a 3-day clock, right?
It's a 1-day clock.
1 day?
It has music.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why it has the 3 different chains.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what threw me.
And it gives you an idea, and these are, everything has to be in sync in order to get it to go.
And the weather will throw these jokers off, right?
It affects the time a little bit.
The dampness and things of that nature, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but a little bit. And so you have to make a little bit of adjustment on the pendulum.
Yeah. I'm going to show them those other clocks over here.
Sure.
But outside of that, like I said, if you want a clock, decent prices, and you can take my word for it, he knows his stuff when it comes to the clocks.
And we have old ones and new ones and whatever suits you.
Now, if they give me, let's say a request, well, can you, Jeff, get me a clock, let's say with this one here with a horse on it? Do you know of a supplier that you could possibly grab them from?
Sometimes. It's getting harder and harder to find wind-up clocks. And so sometimes we can get the same clock again, sometimes we can't. But we'll certainly give it a try, and we're able to do that.
This one here is 150 quarts.
Quarts just means battery.
Right.
And it goes once an hour.
And then there's some more behind me here. I wish I'd gave a price on all of them, but I'd be here all night.
And some of these are in the process of repair.
Okay. And this is where you would take the movement out and place on that wooded one over there, right?
Exactly.
That wooden stand. Okay. Which I absolutely love this clock here. I wish he'd give it to me, but he won't. But yeah,
but we buy and sell, and we trade. Here's one that we worked on. It's a musical one, like the one you saw over there.
Okay.
It goes off on the half hour, and then
on the hour as well. Is this up for grabs, or is this?
That's a repair.
Okay.
And this one is kind of like yours over there in the sense that the woman, it had been on a wall and she had never seen it run. She was 60 years old.
Okay.
So it hadn't had a lot of use. It was in really good shape.
Yeah.
Just because it hadn't been run. So.
Okay. I'm gonna run the prices over here if I can see them. I'm about blind. 150.
They're wind-up clocks. These are clocks that you wind them up once a month.
And 150. I don't know what this one is.
That one is a repair.
Okay.
There, that's one that we're working on for somebody.
And this one here.
It's 185.
185.
Now
It's got the. Okay, and then.
175. And
I love this one here.
Beautiful Black Forest clock there.
I want that one. I ain't got the money for him.
And then we got some of the older ones down here. We got like this one is it's a cast iron clock, and it's a different one. They call these kitchen clocks, and a lot of people think that these are hand carved, but they're not. They were pressed.
Okay.
And they had big presses, and they soaked the wood, and they pressed them, and made those designs on them. And they're really pretty, and you can get a little piece of history and a clock that will wind up, and something that you can pass on
to your next generation, right? Right. This one here is 170.
Yeah, and that's a new clock. You know, if you're worried about the reliability or don't want to deal with an older clock, you can buy one that looks like it, and a new clock.
A new version. All right, and then that one he was talking about was 175, 185. I don't know about the horse.
Let's see. The horse is a statue, and it's separate. And but the statue is $40. The clock is $200.
Okay.
And but you can pretty much get any price range you want.
Right. And the other Black Forest clock up here on the wall. He is $750.
Yeah, that's $750, and that's an 8-day clock.
I'd love to own him.
Yeah,
I really would.
Beauty there.
I aggravate him every time I come in here. But he sells me propane as well, and that's how I run across him. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's but we got a full workshop, and we're happy if you have an older clock. We're happy to take a look at it. We can usually give you a price within a few minutes.
Okay.
And we're happy to do that. We'll stick with the price if we can't. If we can't fix the clock, we'll reassemble it, put it back together, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Okay. Name and number. Phone number they can get hold of you.
Sure. It's 276-274-6802. And I'm up here until late in the evenings all winter, and if I'm ever not here, just give me a call, and I'm happy to come and take care of you anytime.
Okay. That's Glade Spring, Virginia.
Right next to the town hall. I can't miss it.
Right.
Big yellow building.
Glade Springs. All right. Well, Jeff, I appreciate it, boss.
Thanks so much. Thanks for coming by.